I'm really very proud to be a part of these guys that do No Need Unmet. I can't say enough about this ministry. It just has changed the way that I do everything. I'm going to give a couple of verses this morning. I'm going to talk a little bit. If you want to move ahead of me, you can go ahead and move over to Genesis 13. We do a lot. Carlos mentioned it. We do a lot. We do all kinds of stuff. One of the things that's most memorable for me is that we helped, well, my part was help demoing a deck, taking part of it down, and that was an interesting time. Now, it was a well-built deck. It was just incredibly old. And so when we got there, we get out back and we start looking at this deck, and internal alarms start going off immediately. I start hearing those alarms, me go. I knew that there was no way that I was going to step on this deck in any way. If you're looking at the deck, if you're looking at the stairs look great, but as soon as you step on it, they all lean to the side. And somebody walked up and grabbed a hold of it. He's like, this is squishy like a sponge. And I'm like, I'm not going up there. And so we started arguing about that because we're guys. And who's going to go up there? And everybody's like, no, not going up there, And we had two very brave guys just run up there while we were standing there. They just ran up those steps. I mean, literally, they were quick. And we were all sitting around, and we just stopped and watched. Because we knew that thing was going to come down right then and there. We were going to be done. It was going to be 15 minutes, and we were going to go home. But it wasn't. They did fine. We got up there. They started handing stuff down, which is why we needed to go up there. There was a bunch of stuff on the deck. But I had to take the opportunity to mess with Mike. Mike, you should see this deck, man. It's horrible. Because he gives us safety talk. Every time we're down here, he stands right there and gives us safety talk, and he says, guys, don't be stupid. Do things safe. This is terrible. I don't want people coming home. I don't want to send you home to your wife with a broken leg. So I'm texting him. I was like, you should have seen them run up there. It was so fast. Oh, they're down again. Don't worry about it. We brought the duct tape. But it took us a while to get to that point. And it took building a foundation to get to that point. And it's that foundation that I want to quickly talk about. That foundation is about relationships and about commitment. In the very beginning of Genesis, a very unlikely source asks a question that is the foundation for the relationship that we made. Cain meant this question facetiously, but God very seriously answered this question throughout the rest of the Bible. And Cain asked God, am I my brother's keeper? And God spends 66 books of the Bible teaching us that we are our brother's keeper. A good example of that, if we want to go ahead and go over to Genesis 13, Abraham was told by God to go ahead and pack up and leave where he was at. Now, he took Lot with him. The Bible just mentions Lot in the beginning, but it mentions that Lot's father had died. So Lot really didn't have a father, and Abraham took him under his wing. And when he left, when God told him to leave, Abraham took Lot with him. So they stopped in a place called Bethel, and something started to happen. They got too big for the area that they were in, and Lot's servants, the guys tending the sheep and all the livestock, started to fight with Abraham's servants. Now, Abraham could have said anything at this point. He could have said, hey, Lot, I took you under my wing. You need to go somewhere else. He could have said, hey, Lot, God told me to come out here. I'm just doing this as a favor for you. You need to do. But that's not what Abraham said. In Genesis 13:8-9, he said, please, let there be no strife between you and me and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we're brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If you take to the left, then I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, then I'll go to the left. And he stepped up and he said, you're my nephew, and we don't need to fight. And the relationship between us allows me to be the bigger man and to say, just take whatever you need. I'll take what's left over, right? Now, I know that that's a pretty simple example. So Abraham took it a step further. I don't know if in chapter 14 you read that about a decade later, Lot was living in Sodom at this time. He chose the land that he wanted to go to, and Sodom was in that land. And Lot was living in Sodom at this time. And a war broke out. A war broke out. These 5 kings decided that they were going to come and attack these 4 other kings. And one of those kings was the king of Sodom. And these 5 kings decimated the other army and took everything that they had as a spoil, including Sodom and Gomorrah and everything that was in there, and Lot and all of his household and all of his goods. And the Bible says that Abraham turned around and armed 380 of his servants. I want you to picture your boss at work coming up to you and handing you a sword and a shield and saying, "Come on, we go to war." Because this is essentially what Abraham did. I mean, these weren't warriors. They didn't say that these were fighters, that these were valiant men of honor. They said that they were his servants, and he armed 380 of them. And he went against these 5 kings and beat them. In Genesis 14:16, it says, so he brought back all of the goods, and he brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. Not only did he get Lot back, he went and took his servants and got Lot back. He took everything that they took and brought it back. And that, to me, was when Abraham answered that question, "Yes, Lord, I am my brother's keeper." That is the point of the relationship that we're in, that we want to be in. That's the part of the relationship foundation that we want for No Need Unmet. So we build that relationship. That's one of the first things that we do. We go in and we build a relationship. We walk into somebody's house, and the first things that we do is sit down and we talk to them, and we learn who their family are, and we learn about their house and their yard and everything about them, and we start building that relationship. The second thing is commitment. And I know that that's a pretty big word, but let me give this to you. There's peace in knowing that someone is not going to let you fall. A couple of weeks ago, we gave certificates out to all the Spartans up here, and we showed a video, and close to the end of that video, we had the trust fall. We had lots of pictures of this trust fall, where we all got up on this platform that was about 3 feet high, and we turned our backs to everybody who was going to catch us, and we just trusted that we weren't going to hit the ground. And that trust did not come easily. That trust is not something that we're just up there and like, "Oh yeah, they're going to catch me." It's something that we had to build up to. There was a couple of guys, including myself, that stood up there for a length of time. We won't discuss how long. Before we decided to go ahead and let that fall and go back. And you know what? I didn't hit the ground. Those men held me. They held me up, and this is exactly what we do. That is exactly the commitment that we make for No Need Unmet, is that we're looking at our care receivers and we're saying, "I am not going to let you fall." Carlos mentioned that we go out 3 hours a month, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? We're calling them. We know what their needs are. There's guys that go out there other times than that. If one of our care receivers had an emergent need right now, after this service, her team would go out to her and help her. We're making a commitment that we're not going to let these care receivers fall. We want to know about the ultimate commitment? All we need to do is look at Ruth. Ruth, in case you're not familiar with the story, Ruth was one of Naomi's daughters-in-law. Naomi and her husband and 2 sons left Israel, went to Moab, and Naomi's husband dies while they're out there. Naomi says, "That's no problem. I still got 2 sons. They're married. They can take care of me." And sometime later, both of her sons die as well. So now she's a widow, and this is one of the toughest things for a widow. It's already tough being a widow because there's no family to take care of you. But to be a widow in a foreign land is that much more tough. I mean, imagine being somebody who's in need in Kitsap County. We have brothers and sisters all around us who can help us, right? Now, if I move to New York and I know nobody, and I'm in need out there, who's going to help me? It's just tougher on widows in a foreign land, right? So Naomi says, "I'm going home." And she tells her daughters-in-law, go home, go remarry, go back to your families. And one of them does. The other one is Ruth. And she says the following, they've got it up. Entreat me not to leave you or turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. The Lord do so to me and more, if anything but death parts you and me. And this is the commitment. This is a step further from just making sure somebody doesn't fall, but this is the commitment. This is what drives me in No Need Unmet. As a matter of fact, when I heard this, when I saw this and started thinking about this, I realized that it's that commitment that makes me want to be a Christian, right? I mean, it doesn't make me want to be a Christian as much as prayer is awesome and it's helpful and it's good. I don't feel better after I pray for somebody when they're in need of food or if their roof leaks. I don't feel better after I pray for them. I know God will take care of them, but what if God is calling me to take care of them? Right? That's what No Need Unmet is about. That is what it is about. It was last Sunday that Mike was able to talk to one of our new care receivers and let her know that we've got a team ready for her and they're going to come out in October. And she looked him in the face and with tears, she said, Mike, 3 days ago, I was sitting at my house and I was thinking to myself, I cannot take care of this house by myself. I need some help. And asking God, crying out to God, do I need to move? Do I need to go somewhere else? Or will you take care of me? And that Sunday, Mike walked up to her and said, we have a team that is going out for you. And she said, Mike, you're an answer to prayer. No Need Unmet is an answer to prayer, and that's what we do. We take it a step further. We say, you will not fall, and we're going to be there as an organization. So that's what it is. Carlos already mentioned that we're relaunching today, right? And that's what it is. And if you feel that, men out there, if you feel that, if you say, I am willing to stand up and be a shield for a family that needs a shield in their life today, we're calling you guys to stand up today. Stand up with me. Stand up with the 30 other men that are standing in No Need Unmet, that are ready to go out and make sure that this church doesn't fall. Because I'm going to tell you, there are people next to you. There are people next to you, the families that are hurting. There is pain in this congregation right here. And that is what No Need Unmet is for. We are to relieve that pain. We are to be the answer that God needs to go out and to help this congregation. And after we're done meeting the needs in this congregation, we're going to go out and meet the needs in our community. We're going to go out there and we're going to find other people who have needs, because it's not just here that has needs. We're going to go out there. So I'm asking you guys, stand up with me. Stand up and say that you're going to be a shield for these people, for these hurting people in this congregation, in this community. Stand up and say that you're going to make sure that nobody in this congregation is going to fall, that we're going to take care of them permanently, that no need is going to go be unmet. And if you're with me today, Mike Swineford has some paperwork right out in the lobby. I ask you to step out there and do this paperwork and fill it out and join one of our teams. And together we'll take care of it.